So welcome to the first day blues. I guarantee tomorrow your mind's going to be a lot clearer. Today, you have things like jet lag, you have things like getting up a little earlier than you expect, a different schedule, and a lot of different things in your mind and body have to adjust. Plus, your meditation is just starting out. And tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day is going to be a lot better. So no worries. You've made it through the first day. That can be difficult, but it's not that difficult. I mean, if you try this getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning and going to bed at 12, that was my first retreat, getting up at 4, going to bed at 12 on a Vipassana retreat when I was something like 20 years old. Yeah, I could survive that, but the teacher came down and got us out of bed and said, you can't go to sleep yet, you have to meditate until 12. Well, that meditation was pretty worthless. But these Burmese are very strict. So that was that. In any case, you're getting enough sleep. As Bhante was saying on the video this morning, we're going to give you, I think it's probably more like 9 hours of sleep now. So there's plenty of sleep, plenty of good food, plenty of walking space, sitting space. I do invite people to come in and sit more. It's kind of an empty room today. But that will come, and you'll be more comfortable with that. Let's not sit in your rooms that much. Sit here with the group. And if you do feel like sitting outside, you can do that. But today is the day when the mind is feeling distracted and it's not really sure how to work with those distractions. So let's talk a little bit about that and some other things. So I just wanted to give a little overview of what the meditation is about, what we're developing. We're developing Sila, first of all, with the precepts that we're giving. We're taking refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And we are taking our 8 precepts and creating a solid floor for us to meditate from, keeping the mind free of remorse, free of guilt. And if you do break a precept, forgive yourself. Just forgive yourself with the idea, I'm going to keep them from now on. That's the way the Buddha would teach it. People would break precepts. They wouldn't follow the rules. And the Buddha said, as long as you know that you've broken the rule and you make the resolution to keep that rule in the future, this is the way of the Dhamma. And of course, we're developing samadhi or concentration, or we like to say collectedness. That is with keeping your mind on the spiritual friend, on the feeling of loving kindness, and keeping that in your mind. And all that leads to panya, or wisdom. And you'll start to see what the distractions are, how they operate, how they don't feel so good, and how to let them go, and how they arise and how they pass. So, well, I just said all this, didn't I? Okay. Yeah. By abstaining from hurting others, you naturally feel less guilt and more generosity of spirit, making meditation easier. Precepts. So, why do we follow precepts? Well, one of the benefits of not killing actually leads to a long life. No harming leads to no sickness. Karmically, in the text, it says that if you harm somebody, you'll bring sickness upon yourself. You hear about every kind of sickness there is. Well, perhaps karmically there was some cause for this in the past. And that is from killing or harming living beings. And of course, no killing, that would naturally lead to something like long life. Killing leads to short life and accidents. Accidents can occur from breaking that precepts. And also not living out your term of life. You come into this life with a certain amount of time, as long as there's no sickness, nothing to hold you back. Your body, it kind of has a lifespan. And of course, science is trying to make that lifespan bigger and bigger. But there is, mitigating factors that make it what it is. But keeping precepts helps this to lengthen your life. No stealing. This leads to loss of wealth. Needs are fulfilled. Okay, no stealing leads to wealth. Yeah, needs are fulfilled. So if you don't steal, that means you don't lose your money. You protect your money. And you can pile it up. And so your wealth increases. Your needs are fulfilled, meaning you get enough food. You get shelter. You get all these things. So don't steal. It also, in the mind, leads to restlessness and doubt. If you've stolen something, you're always looking over your shoulder, because whoever you took it from is looking for you. No sexual misconduct. This leads to a good reputation and good relationships. If you can see with politicians, they get in trouble with somebody and then it's splashed all over the papers, and it really leads to a loss of reputation. No lying, again, leads to a good reputation. People believe you the first time. They just trust you. If you ask somebody to do something, they don't say, well, why would I want to do that? They just do it. And you keep this going, and that trust is built. No intoxicants, obviously that creates a clear mind. And it also helps to not break other precepts, because when your mind is intoxicated, you tend to be a little bit loose and break other precepts. Okay, so the hindrances, those things that have come up today. Sensual desire, I like it, I want that. And thinking about these desires. Aversion, anger, fear. Now, fear is part of aversion. Fear is pushing away, anger is pushing away. Anything where you don't want this, that is a type of aversion or anger. I don't like that, get it away from me. Pain, anything that's unwholesome tends to be painful. Anything that's wholesome tends to be pleasurable. Number 3, restlessness and worry. I want to move. I want to go somewhere. This is a common one. After you've sat for 30 minutes, your body starts to feel a little shaky, a little restless. And after an hour, quite a bit. So when restlessness comes up, you relax. You let it be. And when it comes up again, don't continue it. Don't let it turn into thoughts. Release it, relax, re-smile, come back to your meditation. And of course, sloth and torpor, being sleepy. And that was probably some of the hindrances today. Just kind of being with the loving kindness and then just kind of drifting into a haze. And the last one, doubt. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I don't know how to practice. Maybe I should talk to somebody. Well, doubt is nothing more than just a thought. You can just say, doubt? Oh, okay. I am full of doubt. I'm releasing that, relaxing, smiling, coming back to my object meditation. And you've done the practice perfectly, because that's all that's expected. All right, so we're going to hear a little bit of a sutta, not the whole thing, but this is called the removal of hindrances from the Sabbasava Sutta. I'm going to talk a little bit about it's more than just mental things that are hindrances. This is called all the taints in English. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the bhikkhus thus, Bhikkhus, Venerable Sir, they replied. The Blessed One said this, Bhikkhus, I shall teach you a discourse on the restraint of all the taints. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, the bhikkhus replied. The Blessed One said this. Summary. Bhikkhus, I say that the destruction of the taints is for one who knows and sees, not for one who does not know and see. Who knows and sees what? Wise attention and unwise attention. When one attends unwisely, unarisen taints arise, and arisen taints increase. And we'll go through this a little later. When one attends wisely, unarisen taints do not arise, and arisen taints are abandoned. Bhikkhus, there are taints that should be abandoned by seeing. There are taints that should be abandoned by restraining. There are taints that should be abandoned by using. There are taints that should be abandoned by enduring. There are taints that should be abandoned by avoiding. There are taints that should be abandoned by removing. There are taints that should be abandoned by developing. So there's 7 ways to remove these hindrances. And let's look at what those 7 are. Hopefully I've got the right file here. Oh, right here, yeah. Okay, so the number 1 is by seeing. By seeing what? By seeing that your mind is attending to the lusts and the anger and the distractions that are coming up in your mind. Don't attend to that. Don't follow it. Release, relax, let it go. If you get into some situation at work that creates anger, don't attend to your anger. Let that anger go. Don't attend to somebody else's anger. Don't look at things on the internet that are making you angry. Don't look at things that make you greedy. All of these things, this is developing these distractions even more. So it's by seeing these things. And also this idea of self, that we have some enduring soul in our mind. The Buddha said there is no soul, that this is just an impersonal process. And by thinking about I is attending to this unwholesome idea that there is a self there controlling everything. Attending to the idea of that I was in the past, that I am in the future, and that I will be in the future. Attending to this idea makes the idea of self grow bigger. It grows more solid. So when you think, I want to go on a trip, or I did go on a trip, these are the I. There's no trip. You're in the present. Being in the present is without all these distractions to the mind. The second one is by restraint. Avoid contact with things that create lust and anger. And this really goes back to number 1. Is that things that make you angry, make you sad, make you grief-stricken, make you greedy, let those things go. Don't attend to them, because this increases the hindrances in the mind. By using. Don't abuse it. This is in terms of the monks. The monks are given, they get their food every day, they go on an alms round and people give them food, and they don't go, I really would prefer this kind of a curry today, and I'd like to have this as a vegetable, and they don't do that. They just, this is the food and it's okay. They have the robe. They don't complain that it's not a cotton robe. Maybe it's a different kind of robe, but it's okay. It covers the body. It does what it needs to do. Don't try to get better stuff. Just accept what you have. Don't overeat. Use your possessions wisely. Use them for good. Don't use them for bad. By enduring. Endure and stay still. Patience. Endure pain. Sit still. So when you're in the sitting, things are going to come up that are going to be painful. You're going to want to move. You're going to want to itch. Itches are really nasty little things. There's really no real pain there, but boy, are they painful. And you really want to itch them. Don't do it. Endure it. Avoid. Staying away from unwholesome situations. Angry elephants, for sure. That's mentioned in the sutta. You don't want to mess with the angry elephant. They're really a lot bigger than you are. Anyway, I guess there was a lot of angry elephants at that time, and I don't know why exactly, but anyway, if there's a mad wild dog, don't try to, go and grab him. Stay away from him. If somebody's having a fight with somebody else, you can turn around and go the other direction. Just stay away from situations where you're not going to get involved in creating even more hindrances in yourself. Removing. So removing just comes down to letting go of the hindrances when they arise in the mind. And that is recognizing that there's hindrances there. Releasing and relaxing and re-smile. And the next part of it is developing, which is bring up positive, stay on your object. So you release, relax with the number 6, and number 7, you develop. And you're bringing up a positive state, loving kindness, and you're staying on your object of meditation. By staying on your object of meditation, there are no hindrances. So number 6 and 7 is really right effort. And all of this really comes down to right effort. Noticing when something's unwholesome, letting it go, bringing up wholesome, keeping that wholesome going. So I'm sure you had lots of hindrances today. This is how the Buddha says to look at them. Some of them are not mental things. Some of them are just, if you're hungry, eat some food. If you're sleepy, get some sleep. If you're cold, shut the window. There are other ways to deal with things that create hindrances in the mind. There's no need to create more hindrances. There's already enough internal hindrances there for you to deal with. Plenty. So why are we here? What are we trying to do? So this gets a little bit more into the weeds here in terms of what are these hindrances coming from? And if you can see there, it's a little hard for me to see it too, there are 10 fetters. They're called fetters, or defilements, cankers, asavas. There's a number of Pali terms. But in everybody's mind, these 10 things exist. These are the 10 unwholesome states. The first one is personality belief. The belief in a permanent self, a self that's unchanging, that no matter what you do, that self is there, and it goes from life to life to life. When you start to see everything is arising and passing away, and that since it arises and passes away, it can't be permanent. If you look at anything, there is no permanence. Even you look at a stone, eventually that stone disappears. Everything disappears eventually. And from that, you glean the fact that there can't be a self either. Just your consciousness is arising and passing away at billions of moments of consciousness at every second. And so how can there be a self there? One moment you're happy. The next moment you're sad. Which is the real you? Or is the you just based on you're happy at that moment and that's who you are? And then you're sad at that moment and that's who you are. And that really isn't a you. That is an emotional reaction coming up. And when you see these things as not you, you don't take them personally anymore. You see that these things are arising and passing away, and they don't bother you anymore. They come and they go. And in fact, eventually they just go. And that's what we're trying to get to here, is actually elimination completely of these fetters. The second one is doubt. Doubt about the Buddha, doubt about the Dhamma, his teachings, and the Sangha, and the monastic community. We're not sure if this is the right practice or not. We don't know if the Buddha is the right teacher or not. And that gradually disappears as you do the practice and you start to see that things really work. Number 3, very simple. You know that lighting some incense, putting flowers on a Buddha statue are not going to get you to Nibbana, and it's not going to eliminate these hindrances. How that's done is meditation, doing what you're doing. Even the reading of the books and worshiping monks or anything else other than meditation is not going to really eliminate these fetters. Rites and rituals. And you see a lot of rites and rituals because most people don't know what it is to meditate. And when they do find out what it is to meditate, they don't want to do it because it's hard. And the ones that do meditate look for easy meditation and things that lead to almost like sensual pleasures and bliss. And if they can get that, that's good. I'll do that meditation. But they won't, they're all over the place in what they want to accomplish here. And they don't really know what they're trying to accomplish. They don't know what suffering is. They don't know the Four Noble Truths. So the first 3, that's the easy stuff that you can get rid of by doing the meditation. Now we get a little harder. We have kama raga, which is sensual desire. It's this constant thought of, I want this, I want that, I really like that. When you're eating, this is so good, and I'm going to get some more of that chocolate cake that we had last night. I'm going to ask for that for every single day and have that. I even asked the manager there, I said, where did you get this cake? It's very good. And she said, we bought it. I was going to give her a compliment and say, you made some very good things here. But she said, we bought it. Okay, it's good. It's very good. But am I thinking about it? Going back to try to find it and find which store it came from? No, it's fine. It came and it went. And ill will, number 5, feelings of hatred, anger, and aversion. We have a lot of very subtle aversion. Now we know what anger is, but aversion is things like my mind wandered and I don't like it and I hate it. That's very subtle. You have to see that. You have to be aware of that. Today you might have had some frustration. This meditation's not going very deep. My mind is all over the place and I don't like this. And of course it leads to doubt and everything else. So desire and not like non-desire, ill will, these are things that gradually loosen up as you go in the practice. So now there's some even more subtle fetters. And these you're not going to give up until you're very, very far down the path. The first one is rupa raga. It's desire for form. In other words, desire to exist in this human existence. Desire to travel, to desire to go do things and to be, to exist. The next one is desire for the formless. Craving for existence in the formless realms, even higher planes of existence. And what I take that to mean is, people say, don't you want to go to heaven? And I go, yeah, that sounds really great. So it's even the desire to not only exist here on the earth, but actually, I'd love to go to heaven. That sounds really fun and wonderful. So it's a desire that's down deep in us. If somebody said, hey, I can get you to heaven if you do this, you say, yeah, show me the way. And that's a desire that's in there. But it's subtle. But when you have this sort of desire come up in your mind, give it some thought. These are the fetters. Number 8, mana, conceit. The belief that one is superior or inferior or equal to others. It's this I that comes up and says, you know what, my practice is better than your practice. Or their practice is better than mine. I am not good at this at all. So this I comes up and it compares. And even, my practice is about the same as yours. There's no need to think about these things. The people do their own practice, let it go. But it's comparing. You compare all the time. It's called, in the normal workaday world, it's called judging. Don't judge. It's kind of, you should do that because I know better. Don't judge. That's a judgment. Number 9, restlessness. Mental agitation and a lack of tranquility. That's a tough one. That's going to be around for a long time. So whenever it comes up, take a look at it. Let it go. Just keep, the moment it appears, relax. And you might have to do that 2 or 3 times. And then it disappears. And it gradually gets less and less, and it doesn't bother you in your meditation. But it's going to be a hard one. And the last one is ignorance itself. Ignorance or delusion about the true nature of reality, and particularly the 4 Noble Truths and dependent origination. What is ignorance? Ignorance means that you think that chocolate cake is pleasure. But actually, you eat it and it passes away and it leaves you wanting more. Does that sound like a pleasant thing? And there, of course, there's pain. The 4 Noble Truths means that there's suffering. And that suffering can be in pleasant things as well. Pleasant feelings arise and they pass away very quickly. That's why your fork is going for another piece, because all of a sudden that pleasurable feeling is disappearing. And you want to keep that pleasurable feeling going, but you can't do it. And that goes to the 4 Noble Truths. That everything on some level is a kind of suffering. But why is it suffering? Because of desire, craving. When you have no craving, you can still enjoy that chocolate cake. You're just not going. You're going to eat a little bit of it and go, "That's very nice," and just walk away. But it's going to be pleasant. As on the other hand, if you had an unpleasant thing to eat, that thing would have an unpleasant taste, and you'd put it aside. But it's this craving for more, thinking about it. This is what makes it suffering. But when we don't have any craving, we can truly enjoy things. And we're not bothered by things. So these are the 10 fetters. So how do we eliminate them? But through meditation, there are 4 levels of attainment. And the first level is Sotapanna. It's a stream enterer, and everybody's heard of a stream enterer. This is entirely possible, even on this retreat. When you follow the teachings of the Buddha, and you follow them the way that he taught them, stream entry is not really a big deal. So what is this? A person who has entered the stream that leads to Nibbana. In other words, there's 4 levels, and that person has now attained to the first level. And when you attain to that level, you are bound to lead to the ultimate, the final Nibbana. You cannot avoid it. What are the defilements eradicated? They've eradicated the first 3 fetters. Personality belief, they know down deep that there is no real self. They have eradicated doubt in the Buddha and his teachings. And they have no attachments to rites and rituals. If they want to go further, they go sit more. Rebirths. Whether you believe in rebirths or not, the Buddha did teach rebirth. A Sotapanna is assured of attaining enlightenment within 7 more rebirths at most. And they will not be reborn in the lower realms, the hell realms, the animal realms, ghosts. Once you get to Sotapanna, you are assured you will not be reborn any lower than the human realm. And of course, there's the heavenly realms, there's all kinds of realms, there's 31 realms. We won't get into that here. But you're assured that you're safe from any of the lower realms. The next level, and you just continue to meditate, do what you're doing now, is Saktigami. It's a once returner. A person who will be reborn in the human world at most 1 more time before attaining final enlightenment. The defilements eradicated. They have weakened the 4th and the 5th fetters, sensual desire and ill will. A Saktigami will return to the human world only 1 more time before attaining final Nibbana. So they loosen hatred and desire. That means if somebody comes at them and they start yelling at them, they'll feel a little bit of anger, but it'll just kind of go away. They'll go, I don't know what you're going on about, but I'm going to go somewhere else. But they will feel a little bit of anger, but not very much. They won't get involved. They'll see the anger come up. Their mindfulness will catch it. And they'll be aware that they don't want to do anything about that anger. They don't want to get involved with it. And if they can think about it, mindfully, they'll try to 6R it and try to remove the source, as we saw, remove the source of that anger and walk away. And you can use many examples with anger. But your anger and your hindrances are less, because now you're not getting angry at your own hindrances. Plus, if you think of somebody that made you mad today, that anger comes up, but it's very light. It's like, yeah, I don't really like that person. 6R, boom. Instead of, I don't really like that person, and the next time I see him, I'm going to tell him. And I'm going to tell Jordan about it. And, they did something, and this and that. And your mind goes on and on all day long. I mean, has this ever happened to you? You're just thinking about, what are you going to do, or why did that person do this? This person is not going to do that. They're going to think, that was unfortunate. I'm just going to avoid that person. The third, I seem to have missed a slide here. All right, well, I'll just tell you. Let me just make sure that it's not. Okay, that's strange. All right, so the third level is called Anagami. Anagami is where you you do not return to the human realm at all, and you are reborn into something called the pure abodes. This is a place where there's only Anagamis and Arahats. These people are very pure. An Anagami has no hatred and no sensual desire. It's completely eradicated. And then there is, the last stage is Arahat, and that's the 4th stage, and that's final Nibbana. That's what the Buddha was, Sariputta, Moggallana, and all of these higher monks. And that means the other 5 subtle fetters are eliminated too. That means restlessness is eliminated. That means the I, the mana, the conceit. They don't go around saying, hey, I'm better than you. No, you would never recognize them. They just would be in the room, and you could be in the room with an Arahat, which is the name of a fully awakened being, and never know it, because they're never going to say anything, because they know that there's nobody there to be better than you are. They're just existing pleasantly, mindfully, with loving kindness, and they don't care about what other people think, etc., etc. So that's the final stage, and we'd all really love to be there, because it must be amazing being an Arahat. And that is levels of awakening. And the other slide I'm not going to go into tonight, but that is essentially it. So tomorrow is going to be a lot more clearer. Clarity will be good. You want to work on those 6 R's. 6 R's is the key to everything. Now when the mind starts to wander, don't push it away. Don't go, oh, I got to push it away and get back. Actually watch that hindrance come up and just watch it. And it makes this kind of very painful kind of feeling in the mind. It's kind of like a spider just kind of walking around, or a painful feeling. Watch that feeling and without making it more, and let it just dissolve. And relax that feeling. And then watch the mind relax, and then just bring up a thought, okay, back to loving kindness for a spiritual friend. And let that feeling come up and just come back. So you really want to understand these hindrances. The hindrances are not things to be pushed away, because that's called concentration. There are 2 types of... What we're doing here is we're developing the 8 jhanas. And you're going to be hearing more about these jhanas in future talks. But these jhanas are... they arise because you've let go of a hindrance. Now, there are 2 types of jhana. This is very important to understand. There are some people teaching the concentration jhanas, and there are some people teaching the tranquil aware jhanas. We're teaching the tranquil aware jhanas the way that they're described in the suttas. The funny thing is, the 2 types of jhana have the same jhana factors, and they're very similar, but concentration jhanas are very extreme. I mean, they're very blissful. And when you go into the first jhana, you'll click into this jhana, and you'll experience this bliss. But you won't have a lot of mindfulness. The jhana stops, you come out, and you'd think, okay, I must be enlightened, but you're not. Nothing actually happens. But you did have a lot of bliss, and so you go into again, and you attain to the second, third. The Mingun Sayadaw, which I'm reading his book, he calls these things the mundane jhanas. And the Buddha, when he left the palace for his search for enlightenment, he learned from the highest teachers of these jhanas in India, Alara Kalama. He taught the Buddha to the 7th jhana, the jhana of nothingness. And the Buddha got it within a few days. And he says, oh, you're so good. Why don't you stay and help me teach this? And the Buddha said, yeah, but I just come out of it, and there must be something more. So he said, is there something more? And Alara Kalama says, yeah, I hear there's another state, and it's called the 8th jhana of neither perception nor non-perception. And so he went and found Udaramaputta, and he learned this jhana. And this is a very subtle, very strong jhana. And the same thing happened. The Buddha learned it, and the teacher said, you must stay. And the Buddha said, craving exists. I don't think this is it. So the Buddha then left and decided, he said, is there any other meditation practice that I can do? And he said, well, we know of no other meditation practice that you can do. But you can do ascetic practices. Maybe you can tame the mind by taming the body. So he went and he did ascetic practices, which are breathing, holding your breath, doing pranayama, inflicting pain on yourself, eating a small amount of food, to see if you can do it with and endure the pain of that and really control the mind by that. But he got down to 1 grain of rice, and it looked like he was going to die. And he was visited by these heavenly beings and said, if you go to less than 1 grain of rice, we're going to infuse heavenly food into you. So don't even think about it. He says, okay, I'm being watched somehow. And so he gave up that practice. He went back to he was in Bodh at that time, and he found a tree to sit under to contemplate why he had not found anything that was leading to enlightenment. He'd found all these jhana states, but they weren't really doing it. He'd given those up. He was doing ascetic practices. Finally, he had the thought, he remembered back when he was around 7 years old, and his father, the king, King Sudana, he said, all right, I want you to sit under this tree while I go and do this plowshare festival. And every year they celebrated the plowing of fields, and they bring out these ornamental plowshares, and it's a big celebration. And he asked the future Buddha, Siddhartha, to sit under the tree and just, be quiet, and he'll come back later. So he was called by somebody, and they said, your son is doing something very strange. He's sitting in a lotus position, and he's not moved for quite a long time. And he came back, and everybody was looking at him, and so he questioned Siddhartha, says, what are you doing here? He says, oh, I'm just relaxing. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. And that was the end of that. So he was 7 years old. So while he's sitting underneath this tree, he's rethinking, what is it that I need to do here? And he remembers this state that his mind had just naturally gotten into. And he thinks, maybe this is the state. This is what I need to do. It's not controlling the mind, but letting the mind relax and rest on the object. So he did that again, and long story short, he became the Buddha in 24 hours. And there's more to that, but that's what happened. So there are two types of jhanas, and so you need to be aware of that. Many people use the word jhana for each of these states. Jhana in Pali actually doesn't mean absorption, concentration or anything like that. It actually means state. It means it's just a state. So what jhana are they in? Well, really, you should be asking, what state are they in? When you go through the tranquil aware jhanas, there are more levels of understanding. The mundane jhanas, they're levels of concentration and bliss and extreme pleasure, extreme equanimity, extreme this and that, but they disappear. They're not levels of insight so much. This is what we've found. Students have come and have done the mundane jhanas, and they've realized that what TWIM is very different than what they've seen before. So I ask you to just look at your own mind and see if what you're doing now is different from what you've done before, if you've worked with other jhana meditations, of which there's many out there. So first day blues leads to the second day of first jhana, joy, and all kinds of good things, if you follow the practice instructions carefully. Is there any questions? Any questions about practice, about how the day's gone, or what's coming next?
What's good about it? What's good meditation?
What is good meditation?
Yeah, what would you say about good meditation?
It sounds like a question that you want to answer.
No, I think it's a good thing to hear. Being distracted 100 times and using the 6 R's 100 times.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Right. So somebody comes in to their interview and they say, well, I had a really great meditation today, and I had all this joy. And Bhante says, so what? You got some candy. All right, great. You're doing the meditation correctly. Another person comes in and says, I had horrible meditation today. My mind wandered constantly, but every time it wandered, I'd 6R and it would come back. But it kept going and then coming back. And he said, oh, that's very good meditation, because you were doing the practice correctly. Meaning you didn't have the result yet, but you were doing what was leading to the right result.
I have another question.
Yes.
More personal interest. How much do we know about the jhanas, the states he achieved with those two early teachers? Is there anything in the text about he went through the 7 or 8 states before those states, or did he
No.
just go straight to those states?
Well, he was taught up to the 7th jhana, and there's no mention of he went through this jhana, then that jhana, no. It's just he achieved that jhana. That's in Mahasachika Sutta, number 36, and plus in a lot of the commentaries. So he just practiced to that jhana. And the next, with Uttaramaputta, he just practiced, and then he did. And in concentration jhanas, you have to take different signs and different objects to achieve these meditations. In this meditation, all you need is the Brahma Viharas, and it will automatically take you into all of these jhanas. You don't have to figure out, you don't have to use little gadgets to, casinas. You don't use discs. You don't have to stare at candles. You just stay on your object of loving kindness. It'll change the feeling, but you'll go through all of these jhanas while that's happening. Yeah.
So did he not have teachers prior to the last two that you described?
No. He left the palace, he went into the forest, and he says, "Where are the meditation teachers?" And he was told, Alara Kalama, number 1. He went there, and then Alara Kalama said, Uttaramaputta, and he went there, and that was it. And the definition of a Buddha is he does not know how to do any of these things, but he knows that there's something more than what's out there.
And that was over a period of approximately what?
7 years.
7 years. So he was with 2 teachers over that period?
Well, he was with 2 teachers for a period of time, and then, for a year. For 6 years, he did ascetic practices.
After those 2?
After the 2 teachers. So a year of meditation and 6 years of yogic, And it's very interesting because I'm reading this Chronicles of the Buddha, and things are coming up I've never heard before. But when the Buddha made the determination to become a Buddha, under the Buddha Dipankara, his name was Sumedha, and he was so impressed with the Buddha that he made a determination to be a Buddha. The Buddha at that time looked into the future and said, it's going to happen. You're going to become a Buddha. And he had all the abilities and the merit and the ability to become a fully enlightened being immediately under that Buddha. But he took a bodhisattva vow, the real vow, which is, I don't want to attain Nibbana until I become a Buddha. And at that time, I'll attain Nibbana. And then I can help other beings out of compassion. Oh boy, I'm losing my train of thought here. Right. So, Dipankara was 24 Buddhas ago. 24 Buddhas came and went until we came to Buddha Gautama, the Gautama Buddha, our Buddha. The time between Buddhas is immense. It's called asankayas, eons of time. There is how long an asankaya lasts is if you take a mountain, solid rock that's like 12 miles long, 12 miles high, and a bird flies over it with a silk cloth once every 100 years. An asankaya is longer than that. So it's a long time. And there were multiple asankayas between Buddhas, and there are 24 periods of Buddhas. And the interesting thing is he looked back and he realized that all of these other Buddhas, and you can read about each individual Buddha, And they all have different traits, and they all got to being a Buddha a little different way, but very similar. It was interesting that all these other Buddhas, they didn't have to do, they all do the same things. They all go out and do meditation, and that doesn't work, and then they have to go do ascetic practices, and finally that works. But they only need to do about a week to 2 weeks of these ascetic practices. But our Buddha had to do 6 years. And I was reading through this, like, well, wow, he really got the wrong end of the stick here. Well, it turns out he had made a comment about the Buddha Dipankara, that at first, when he first saw him, he says, "Oh, that monk can't achieve anything. I don't think he has any ability at all." And as a result of that thought, and that Buddha, that man, he can't endure tortures and ascetic practices. I don't think he has any patience at all, that bald-pated recluse. So he made a really nasty comment about this Buddha very early on. As a result of that thought, when he became the Buddha in this lifetime, he spent 6 full years of torturing himself in ascetic practices because of that one comment. So if you ever run across a Buddha, only good speech, good thoughts. And that leads to really wonderful results as well, is praising the Buddha, giving dana to a Buddha, the merit is certainly amazing. Anyway, that's a long answer. Anything else? Yeah.
Do anagamis go to the two-seater realm? Or is there
No, they go even higher. There is the 6 deva realms, or the heavenly being realms. There's 6 of those. The Tusita realm is where the next Buddha is right now. He's awaiting for the right time to come to the human existence. Now, this could be 1 billion years, or the times in the heavenly realms are very, very long. The Tusita realm, though, is where most monks will probably end up, unless they've meditated and they've achieved certain results. But say like a monk that you might know, if he's practicing, if he's studying, it's very likely he'll probably go in the neighborhood of the coming Buddha. And the Tusita, there's the realm of the 33. There's another one. There is the Tusita realm. So Tusita realm's about the 4th realm of the 6. The realm above that is where you can manifest things, and the realm of the number 6 realm is where you have others manifest them for you. So you have servants who just manifest whatever you like. The Tusita realm is the 4th realm. This is where there are monks, and you can meditate there, and you can go listen to talks from the future Buddha, whose name is Metta. And he's going to come at a time when it's going to be heaven on earth. Even you can read commentaries about he's going to come to when the weather is an average of 73 to 74 degrees all the time. The only illness there will be hunger and thirst. The lifetime of the humans will be around 80,000 years. It's going to be a very good time for the human realm. But at that time, he will come and he'll teach the Dhamma.
So not right now.
Not right now. You know, our Buddha, most other Buddhas come when the human existences are, the beings are, or the humans are here for 100,000 years. That's the average lifespan. But our Buddha didn't make out so well. He came when the lifespan is 100. At the time he made the determination, the lifespan predicted for this time would be 100 years old. Most people and most Buddhas live to 4/5 of that. So that means our lifespan if you look at the Buddhist way of looking at it, is 100 years old. So everybody here has the possibility to live to 100. However, the average tends to be 4/5 of that number, which is about 80. Right?
Oh my.
81, I don't know. I don't know. The clock ticks down.
He laughs nervously.
Yeah. Well, my mother's 96, and I don't know how she's doing it. And I think your parents, 99 or 90.
Yeah, I have a 104-year-old aunt, one that's just about to be 100. Most of my people lived into the 90s.
Oh, well, you're going to do fine
We got
then.
a couple of minutes left.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
According to your website introduction, Metta with a spiritual friend can be divided 3 categories by remaining duration, 70% for loving kindness and 25% for...
Oh, the feeling?
Yeah.
Right. So at first you bring up the object of a spiritual friend. That means you have to actually kind of visualize, see who it is. But you don't have to see it like in living color and hold it in your mind. You just bring up an image, okay, you know who your spiritual friend is. And there's no feeling yet at all. So there's zero feeling, but there's the spiritual friend, the object. Gradually, the feeling grows around the spiritual friend, and the spiritual friend, knowing the friend, recedes into the background. And now your attention is more on that feeling. And finally, you just really let go of the spiritual friend. But you know he's back there. You never completely let go. You never just look at the feeling, because if you do that, that feeling's going to disappear, because there's no object there.
You got the feeling he's there.
But you know he's there. But now you're really looking at the feeling, and you're not thinking about the spiritual friend very much. You know he's there. Occasionally you kind of know that. But really more you're just developing this feeling of loving kindness and working more with it.
David, you use the word radiating or sharing. I think those are great words.
Yeah, sharing is very good. Radiating, you have to be careful of the word radiate, because it's like an action. To radiate, you might think that it's pushing out loving kindness and making it happen. But radiating, you're radiating like a candle flame. A candle flame radiates heat. It doesn't push heat out, it's hot. So it just naturally exudes heat. So just be careful of that word radiate, because when we start to radiate to the directions, we're not pushing loving kindness out. We're already feeling loving kindness, and we're just directing it to flow out. Anything else?
I struggle with the spiritual friend is a new idea to me, and the spiritual friend I had in mind is not a grounded, calm person, but a happy, fun person to go on the hot
Good.
with. Yeah.
Great.
So,
They don't have to be a Buddha or anything.
so I'd like to know more that you don't, you can picture the friend, you know that's your friend, and then you don't get distracted by her airy-fairiness, or...
Yeah, it's just, it's not like if you're there with her, you're not watching every move she's making. You're just hanging out, having a good time.
She was distracted.
Yeah, Aaron.
Just a little clarification question. Are we meeting in the morning at 6:30, or did I hear
Yes.
something about how it's changed?
Yeah, every day, 6:30 here.
6:10.
No,
Okay, 6:30. All right, thank you.
The evenings or
that was the evening, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and right.
When I stay with a spiritual friend, sometimes I feel just loving kindness
Mm-hmm.
rather than a spiritual friend.
That's perfect, because
That's okay?
as long as you kind of just in the background. I mean, I don't want you to try to look for him, but he'll just kind of disappear. And the thing is that your feeling will start to disappear too, and it will get weaker. And then you'll bring up the spiritual friend again, and may he be happy. And that feeling will come back. And gradually the feeling will just be there. And you'll stay on your object 3 to 5 minutes. Now you know that you're doing very well if you're on your object for 3 minutes. It's not that big a deal with no distractions. But when you get on your object for 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to start to feel something really good. Without any hindrances in your mind. For 3 to 5 minutes is all we ask. You'll see some really good changes. Sounds like nothing, but it is something. Somebody may not be on their object. This is a question in the interviews that we're going to ask. How long before your mind wanders off the object? How long can you stay on that object before the mind, you're over here? And I don't mean being distracted by a little bit of noise in the background or a door shutting. Is your mind really with the object and you know that the object is there? Then you're with the object. But are you thinking about lunch over here and you've totally left the object behind? Then that's a wandering mind. How long between the time that you're with the object and when your mind wanders? At first it might only be 5 seconds. Then it might be a minute. Then it's 2 minutes. Then it gets up into a much higher level and things will start to happen.
How should we tell how long we have spent?
You guess. Give a little, just guess.
Time is
You don't need a stopwatch or you'll figure it out. You just kind of watch the mind, see how it's. You'll notice that the mind stops wandering, and there's just no hindrances there. It won't be an extreme thing, but you'll just notice. My mind is just here, and the object's here, and then nothing's moving at all, and I feel pretty good. So that'll happen.
Practically speaking, if you sat 30 minutes and you were distracted 10 times, you kind of do the math, right? So
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
you can kind of note how long the sit was and then reflect later. It's not something you need to monitor
No.
while you sit, but just kind of walk away and, oh, okay, I noticed fewer distractions that sit than the previous sit, or vice versa. How long was that sit? You can start to figure it out, and your mental internal clock will start sort of regulating and tracking that for you as you get more comfortable with the meditation.
Yeah, and don't think about the interviews all day long, which I used to do, and give this chronological play-by-play to Bhante, and he's like, oh gosh, I don't really want to hear it. It doesn't matter. We'll ask you questions. You answer based on what you remember of the day. Don't need to worry about it. We're going to ask you how long was your longest sitting. Did anything interesting happen? How long were you on your object? Any questions? And that's kind of it. And it will just go from there. But don't spend all day thinking about it, because something might happen in the morning and you think, I got to tell the teacher this, I got to tell the teacher this. Then in the afternoon something else happens, and that's all gone now because you've moved on to something actually even more interesting. So by the time you get to the interview, things will have changed from the time that you started to, try to figure out what you're going to say. And don't journal and don't write these things down, because this creates more ideas and more determinations to make a story about this. It doesn't matter. We don't care too much about, we're just looking for certain things that are happening in your meditation. It's not a lot of different things. We don't care really too much about how you got there, but if it happens, we know you got there in the right way. So.
We're looking for the mile markers.
Yeah.
Keep you on the right direction. are like the guideposts, right? So we're not necessarily going in deep dive into every sit you had that day. We're just more looking for certain things to make sure that we kind of keep the guardrails on, keep it going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trust the process. We'll talk about
Stay on your object.
Yeah.
That's all we ask. That's all.
And have fun.
If you're on your object, you're having fun.
And smile.
Yeah.
Bhante would say, I don't see anybody smiling. And then we don't smile.
Yeah. He'd always pick out somebody. It was like the victim. It was always the first or second day. You're not smiling. Wait a minute. You're not smiling. And everybody was like, but
it's really, really, really helpful. If you're not smiling, the sooner you start, the better. So it'll really loosen things up.
yeah, I really will.
Just go with how cheesy and funny and silly it feels, and relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask something?
I had the impression, and I may be mistaken, but I had the impression that the feeling of loving kindness was persisting for long periods of time, but that my mind was wandering riotously and randomly around
Yeah.
with very little control over it, but that it was there throughout. And that's why I don't know if I'm mistaken about that or not.
Well, it really does disappear and come, and it comes and it goes. Once your mind wanders, the feeling of loving kindness is gone at that point. It's just not, in other words, you're not on your object. You're not aware that it's there. So it doesn't persist for long periods of time. It's like getting a little fire going. There's just a little bit of flame and blow on it a little bit, and then it kind of peters out, and you have to kind of get it started again, and pretty soon you have a very tiny little fire, and you keep stoking it, and it flutters, and then maybe it gets more and more. And another point is you don't need the loving kindness to be really powerful and strong. That's not what we're looking for. Just stay with the object and 6R when it disappears. It can be very weak, and that's okay. But you're not trying to force this incredible loving kindness. I remember I used to take walks thinking that the more powerful it was, the more progress I was going to make. And I'd be out there walking along just thinking, may I be happy? Oh, wow, yes. Oh, I'm feeling the love. And it's like, and I'd be tearing up. And later on, I think, geez, what am I doing? That's not working. It doesn't work like that. It's getting all emotional. It's just a light smile, a light feeling.
Yeah, you should feel at ease.
Yeah. Anything else? Or we'll share some merit. If you can find your merit sheets.
Did we collect them all?
I think we collected them.
I think we
Well, no, maybe part of them. Yeah, maybe we should collect them, though, just so they don't disappear. So anybody who needs one? Oh, one in the back.
You should have
Yeah, things tend to just disappear when they get in the audience. They're like thoughts. They just...
He's using a book.
Okay. It's okay.
Yeah, here, let's give you a sheet. And this is the official sharing of merit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been reading it.
Oh, good.
So
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's all right.
Good. Good. All right. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fearless, fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired. for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right.